Okay, Twigs, sad day. And producer Jen's just attempted to improvise dancing. Quite the sight at 6:45 here in Salford this morning. A very, very good morning to you. Welcome to Monday. Chris Hawkins here and producer Jen here on Six Music with you till 7:30. And hello to Johnny P, who says, morning, Mr. Hawk. Not missed October Drift, have I? Afraid so, Johnny. You snooze, you lose. That was soon after the start of the show, just after 5 this morning. Hello to Mike Bond, who says, I was at Ride in Birmingham last night too. Superb, of course. I first saw them in 1990 at the now defunct Windsor Old Trout. Lots of you at Ride last night. Sounds like it was a great night. Hello to Pete King, who says, I lived in Oxford between 1994 and 2000. Saw Ocean Colour Scene at the Jericho Tavern, and our first Sprog was born in the John Radcliffe Hospital. I left where they pedestrianised the town centre. Unbelievable. This country. And hello, Alison, who says, I saw my first kingfisher in Oxford, and it took 40 years to write about it. Here's Alison's poem. In Oxford, by the stained canal, your latest love turned unkind. You watched rainstorms fade, wings burned, banks blue. Short poem about a kingfisher that Alison saw in Oxford, which is where Hometown Glory is this week.
This is BBC Radio 6 Music.
Chris Hawkins.
This is Mark Gardner from Ride, and this is my Hometown Glory guide. So, favourite venues, would have to say for smaller venues, the Jericho Tavern would have to be, I guess, the first on the list. Ride played there. Well, our first sort of paying shows there. Also, there's the Bullingdon Arms on the Cowley Road, which is run by a colourful character called Osprey, who's very big on the local music scene. And then, of course, for the bigger venues, it's got to be New Theatre in Oxford, which is just an amazing hall. It's where I first attended gigs as a teenager and saw bands such as The Cult, The Damned. Yeah, it's an amazing room, amazing venue, and one that Ride played sort of fairly recently. And of course Oxford Town Hall, which was always sort of famous for a place where the Stones and the Beatles, I think, played back in the day. For restaurants, I'd have to go East Oxford. I live in East Oxford, which is kind of politically always been the red dot, always sort of very multicultural, sort of groovy, sort of heartbeat really of Oxford, where all the sort of music people and there's a lot of students, sort of dropouts, and big sort of Caribbean, Irish influence, loads of different restaurants in the area. I'd have to say Ollie's Thai is just an incredible Thai on Magdalen Road. Also the Magic Cafe. On the Cowley Road itself, there's Tabaru, which is amazing for sushi. Malika's, which is one of my favourite Indians at the moment, and there's a lot of choice. For record stores, sadly, I think there's only one left now in Oxford, which is the Truck Store. Yeah, I mean, it's a great place. Parks in Oxford, I have to say South Parks, which is close to Cheney School, which Andy and I both attended, and we used to, many a lunch break, used to sort of go and hang out in South Parks, which sort of overlooks beautiful view down on the city of Oxford. Also University Parks in the centre of Oxford is beautiful. There's also the inspiration for Steve Marriott and the Small Faces. I believe it was the Itchy Park inspiration. Favourite bars, the Magdalen Arms and the Chester Street Tavern. And that concludes my Hometown Glory Guide to Oxford.
Six Music.
That Twisterella by Ride, and that was the second track on their second album, produced by Alan Moulder, a blank again. And And great to hear Twisterella. And Amanda says, I lived in Jericho in Oxford in the mid-90s and loved it. So vibrant and friendly. Sing Ride in Oxford tomorrow. Lots of you there last night in Birmingham, Sing Ride, and lots of you, it seems, going this week to Oxford tomorrow night. So it's a hometown show, the first time for me since 1991, says Amanda. And if you've got an Oxford story this morning, I'd love to hear it. What about any of those places that Mark mentioned? Ever seen any great bands at any of the venues that he mentioned there? Or dined out, been to the bars that he mentioned, or the parks? Chris.6music at bbc.co.uk, text 64046 or at BBC6music. A Monday morning, alternative 80s classic now, and this from Japan, Quiet Life.